Hello and welcome back to the Tech Blackboard. This is our part 2, the concluding part of our Learn Azure for Free in 2022 series. I'm sure that you have watched part 1. The link for the same is now appearing in the I button on the top right corner and in the description box below. Now let's first understand the objective of part 2. I have divided this part in 4 sections. The first section is features of free Azure account. The second section is what happens when free subscription end. The third one is understanding the billing, and the fourth one is free online resources and books. Now let's take a deep dive into each section. In the first section, I will tell you what services do you get in Azure free account and what is their duration that you can use them for free. Then we will look upon services that you can use free for 12 months. And moving on, we will see services that you can use always free. In the second section, I will explain you what happens once your credit of $200 is used up or your 1 month free time duration is over. Then, in the third part, I will tell you the details of Azure Billing by showing you a real actual Microsoft invoice that I received for my pay-as-you-go invoicing model. In the fourth section, I will show you the best online resources and books that you can use for your Azure learning. I will show you the websites and the ways you can access the resources and download the books. Rest assured that all the books and the resources that I will show you are free and from the legitimate sources. Now let's begin our first section, features of free Azure account. Now open your browser and a search engine. Here, find out the term Azure Free Tier. The very first link that comes from Microsoft, click on that, and this will bring us to the page where Microsoft lists down all the services and other details related to Microsoft free tier account. The very first two options, which says start free and pay as you go. We discussed start free in our last part. I request you to please go through that part. The link is now available in the I button and in the description box below. Now let's see the other options. The first two boxes here, they tell you that there are many popular services that you can use for free for 12 months. And then there are 25 plus other services that you can use always free. We will look upon these services in greater detail later in this section. Then here in this section, you can see that you get $200 of free credit from Microsoft in your Azure free account. Remember that this amount depends on your location. In case you are in UK, it will be shown in euros, dollars for US and rupees for India, and then likewise for other countries as well. However, the time under which you must use your credit remains 30 days regardless of your location. In this section, Microsoft tells you what can you create using Microsoft free account. So let's explore. You can create cross-platform mobile applications using Microsoft App Services, Cognitive Services, and Microsoft Machine Learning. You can also create innovative apps using Microsoft Virtual Machines, Azure Kubernetes Services, or Azure Synapse Analytics Services. Scalability is so important for our web application, and you can bring scalability in your web applications by using Azure Functions and Azure DevOps. It's important to note that you can use almost any services offered by Microsoft Azure in your Azure free account. However, your billing must not cross $200. Now, there are two questions that must be popping in your mind. What happens in case you might not be able to consume the $200 within 1 month? Or the second question that comes to your mind is what happens if $200 is over or 1 month is past? Will Microsoft deduct money from your account automatically? Let's find out the answers to all these questions in the second section coming up. Let's begin our second section. What happens when free Azure subscription ends? Now I am on the same Microsoft Azure Learn page that we discussed in the first section. Scroll down to the very bottom of the page, and here you can see three boxes saying 1, 2 and 3. The first box talks about start free. Get $200 credit to use in 30 days. And this is exactly what we discussed in the section 1. The second box says after your credit, move to pay as you go to keep getting popular services and 25 plus other services. So let's understand what does this mean. So once you have exhausted your $200 of free credit from Microsoft Azure, or your 1 month subscription is already over. Then after that, Microsoft will never charge you automatically of any overbill that comes by using Microsoft Azure services. What will happen is that once your credit is over or 1 month is over, you will not be able to use any of the Microsoft services unless you change your free tier to pay as you go payment model. Before you can exhaust your $200 of free credit or before your 1 month is over, you will start to receive mails from Microsoft which will tell you that your free subscription is about to be over and that you must switch to pay as you go. Rest assured that once you switch to pay as you go model, you won't be charged for anything that you used when your free tier was valid. The billing starts from the day you change to pay as you go model. The interesting part is that you can still use many services for free even if you have now switched to pay as you go model. Coming to the same Microsoft Azure Learn page, this section gives you details about all the services that you can use free for 12 months and services that you can use free always. On the top above, it shows you that you can use Azure Virtual Machine for Linux, Azure Virtual Machine for Windows, Azure Database, Azure Blob Storage free for 12 months. It also gives you details on what are the number of hours and what type of resource that you can use free for 12 months. Then in the lower section, it tells you what are the services that you can always use for free. For example, Azure Cosmos DB, Azure App Services, Azure Functions, and Azure Event Grid. These are just few of the services that Microsoft offer for free 12 months or always. If you want a detailed or entire list of these services, then you need to click here which says see all free services. And then you are presented with this table in which Microsoft has listed all the services and the free period they are offered for. For example, you can see Azure Advisor, a description of the services, what is the type and the free monthly amount that you can use. Here it's mentioned unlimited and the free period is also given here. So for Azure Advisor, you can use unlimited Azure Advisor for free always. Then for example, we have Azure App Services here. A description as always, and then it gives you what kind of service it is. So it's a compute type of services, and then free monthly amount is 10 web, mobile or API apps with 1 GB of storage. So this is the free limit that you can use and you can use it always. Similarly, if you go for archive storage, then you can use this storage for 12 months. And what can you use, what is the limit, that's given here. So you can use 10 GB LRS storage, 10 GB LRS or GRS write and retrieval, and 100 reads for 12 months. Similarly, you can keep scrolling this table and get all the information about all the services that Microsoft offers and what are the free period you can use them for. I strongly recommend you to come down to this page and improve your learning on Microsoft Azure services. Before we start, I just want to say please like and subscribe to the channel if you are new here. Share the video to the maximum you can and spread the knowledge. Do comment more and more, ask questions, give feedback so that everyone can benefit. Now let's begin. Let's begin our section 3 and understand Azure Billing. Here you can see that I have received a mail from Microsoft for my pay-as-you-go subscription. This bill is from 19th of September until 19th of October. Now let me take you through the real invoice. Starting from the top, the first section of the invoice gives you detail about your invoice number, your address, your email ID, and of course the billing cycle. I have masked some of the key information just to secure my personal information. Then, if you will scroll down, you can see what is the total amount that has come in your bill. You can see I have been charged 3.73 SEK because I am in Sweden, so my bill comes in Swedish krona. This is the first page of the invoice. Scroll down onto the second page, and here it's a small section which gives you some additional information and useful resource how you can connect with Microsoft support and Microsoft blog, and you can also understand your Microsoft bill. So these are some of the key important hyperlinks that you can use. Then if you will scroll down, you will reach to the page 3, and here you can see the details of all the resources that you have been charged for. For example, I created a storage, I use app services, then I also use Azure virtual machines. It gives you details on type of resource that you have used. For example, for Azure App Service, I have used the standard plan. Then for the Azure machine, virtual machine, I have used BS series of virtual machine. Then in the third column, it gives you details on the type of resource that you have used. For example, I have used S1 for the Azure App Services. Then I have used B2S for the Azure virtual machines, and likewise for the other services as well. Interesting to note is that it also gives you details on the region in which you created your services. Then, what is your consumption and what is the billable amount and the rate. And finally, it gives you the final value of the amount that you are being charged. If you will scroll down to the last page, it sums up all the value or all the amount that you have charged for other services, for the different services, and gives you the final total amount. Now you might be wondering that at the last of the invoice it says 2.97 SEK while on the top it mentioned 3.73 SEK. The reason for that the VAT tax is also added, which amounts to a 0.76, thus making a total of 3.73 SEK. Here you can also see that the payment method for my invoice is credit card. So this amount will be charged against your credit card in the billing cycle. I have been using multiple Azure accounts for my learning purposes, and never it has happened that Azure has overcharged me or charged me for something that I thought was not used by me. So every time the billing process has been really fair and transparent. I hope that this section has answered many of the questions that you always had in your mind related to Azure pay-as-you-go model. In case you have any further question related to Azure Billing, Azure pay-as-you-go, Azure free tier account, please do tell me in the comment section below. Now let's begin our section 4 and discuss about free online resources and books. Now let's explore some of the resources that you can use to learn Microsoft Azure. And what could be better to learn Microsoft Azure than from Microsoft itself? So head to your browser, open a search engine and find out the term Learn Azure Microsoft. Click the very first link from Microsoft and this will open Microsoft Doc site. Or if you're like me, you can straight away open doc.microsoft.com. Now this is very elaborative and well designed site and there are many ways to explore it. Let me show you some of them. The very first way to explore this site is to come under certifications, click overview, and here you are presented with all the information about all the certification Microsoft offers. You can see here you have developer, you have administrator, you have solution architect. So you can find out certification for all the roles. You can go for data engineers, data scientists, AI engineers, DevOps engineers, security engineers, or functional consultants. Similarly, you can again go to this certification and browse certifications. And this is the best place that I normally come to explore all the certification that Microsoft has to offer. It has lot of built-in filters. It has a lot of built-in filters that you can use to customize your search. So for example, you can search on based on products. So there are certification for .NET, Azure, Dynamics 365, Microsoft 365, and lot more. Then if you scroll down, you can see that you can also search your certification or exams based on your role. You might be an administrator or an AI engineer or maybe a business user or a data analyst. So just find out your certification based on your role and the level. This is also one of the great ways to find a certificate. So for example, you are just beginning Microsoft Azure. What you can do is just select the beginner and it automatically filters out the certification for you. So you can see that there are a lot of certification that you can do on beginner levels. For example, DP 900, which is Microsoft Azure Data Fundamentals, or AI 900, which is related to artificial intelligence. And then we also have Microsoft AI Fundamentals and Microsoft AZ 900, which is one of the more popular certificates from Microsoft. And it talks about Microsoft Azure Fundamentals. Not only that, you can also find certificates based on certification types. So for example, you can find certification on MSc, MSCSA, or MSCSD, and so on and so forth. So very elaborative site and lot of features and lot of filters that you can explore and find out exactly what you are looking for. Another way of looking at the certification are that you can come to this roles and straight away find certifications or exams based on the role that you want to look forward for. We also saw this filter in this page as well, but this is also given in a separate section. Then you have products similar to this filter that we had in this section here. Products we have here as well, but it's also given here as a separate link. So there are many ways, as I said, to explore this site. Choose your way and narrow down your search. Now let's explore some of the books that you can use to learn Microsoft Azure. And what could be a better way to start books directly from Microsoft? So this is one of the sites that you can use to download books on Microsoft Azure. I will give the link for this site in the description box below. Very interestingly, once you are registered with Microsoft, for example, I have registered Microsoft to learn Microsoft Azure, you will start to receive related books to learn Microsoft Azure, Microsoft Kubernetes, Microsoft DevOps from Microsoft itself. They will keep sending you different books for free. You don't have to pay anything for them. So for example, I have received this book which says Learn Microsoft Azure through bit-sized lessons and labs. This is a very interesting book and I have read these books to solidify my understanding on Microsoft. Then you can come on this site which is azureheroes.com. And on this side, you can also find a lot of books that are related to Microsoft Azure. Just click on the book that you like and it will be downloaded for you for free. Same, I will provide the link for this as well in the description box below. I hope that you have gained a lot of insights in section 4 about free resources and free books to learn Microsoft Azure. This brings us to the end of part 2 of our Learn Azure for Free in 2022 series. In the previous part 1 of this series, we discussed how to start learning Azure, and then we moved on how much it costs to start learning Azure. In this section, we also discussed how to get a free Microsoft Azure account, and then we saw that Microsoft actually encourages you to use Azure, understand Azure, by providing you a $200 of credit. It's worth mentioning here that this is true for the other cloud providers as well. For example, AWS and GCP, they also provide you free subscriptions or free account similar to Microsoft. And then I showed you how to create a free Microsoft Azure account. I hope this part will help you kickstart your Microsoft Azure journey. Now let me sum up also what we will be discussing in the next part. In the part 2 of this series of Learn Azure for Free, we will discuss and deep dive into the features of free Microsoft Azure account. We will then also see what happens when your subscription ends. So for example, when you start Microsoft Azure account, you create a new account, you get $200 for 30 days. So what happens once these 30 days are over, or let's say your $200 are over? It's important to understand, so don't miss the next part. Then we will also understand the billing of Microsoft. I'm going to show you a real Microsoft Azure bill that comes to you once you get into pay as you go subscription. So it would be interesting for you to have an insight on this actual Microsoft billing. Then I will show you some online resources and really good books that you can read through and improve and solidify your Microsoft Azure understanding. In this part 2, we discussed in the first section features of free Azure account, where I showed you free Azure services that you get with Azure free tier account, how much free credit you get, and what time duration you have to use all these free credit. We also discussed on services that you get free for 12 months and other services that you get always free, even if you move to the pay as you go payment model. In the second section, I told you what happens when your free subscription ends. In the third section, while understanding billing, I show you the actual Microsoft invoice and explained you in detail the various sections of the invoice. Then in the fourth section, I give you insights on free Microsoft Azure resources and books that you can read to enhance your Azure knowledge. Hope this series has helped you to kickstart your Azure journey in the year 2022. If this video has added any value in your learning, a like and subscribe is highly appreciated. Share this video in your family and friends to spread and expand their learning. Your comments and feedback give me a chance to interact with you, and I look forward for them. We will meet again in our next video. Till then, stay fit, keep learning, and thanks for watching.